Hey Capricorn, this is Michael with your December 2020 reading. That's right, we are at the end of the year, which is kind of crazy. Don't get me wrong, 2020 has been a long year, yet somehow it's December already. It's a really weird thing. I don't know, time has been super interesting this year. I actually think astrologically, one of the reasons for that is Jupiter and Saturn have really been dancing around each other this whole year. And Jupiter is actually, or I'm sorry, Saturn is Kronos, the god of time. And Jupiter is this expansive energy. And so it's really creating this strange time dilation where it feels like time is slowing down and going faster all at once. I would be really curious actually to hear from those of you who are in the southern hemisphere how this is feeling, because with the days getting shorter here in the northern hemisphere, I'm in New York, it's really easy for it to feel like time is just kind of evaporating towards the end of this year. I can't believe we're almost in 2021. That's kind of crazy, to be honest with you, because it feels like it's been 2020 forever. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you, for those of you who are in the southern hemisphere or even near the equator. What is time feeling like for you? What is time? Wow, this is a weird intro to this video. Anyways, I want to warn you that these videos have been pretty long, as you probably can tell by the time stamp. I have made myself a nice hot cup of tea, and I advise that you do that as well. Maybe make yourself a snack before we circle in here. For those of you who are new to this channel or new to these videos that I create, I do like to talk about the astrology. I actually am going to be focusing on that specifically in the first part of this video. There will be timestamps down below if you just want to skip ahead to the reading. I do want to do just a quick bit of housekeeping before we get into all of that, however. All of my links for personal readings, Reiki sessions, and donations for those of you who feel so-called, those are all down below. I do also have the astrology blog, which lists out all the aspects and transits I will be referencing by date if you want to look at that, so you don't have to remember when all of this is happening. It's just a great handy little reference. That is linked down below as well. As always, I also appreciate those of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It really means a lot to us YouTube content creators, and it's a great way to kind of spread that festive joy. It's been kind of a hard year, to be totally honest, and you know, as a fellow Earth sign, I think you can kind of feel with me that this eclipse that we had on the 30th of November in Gemini did not really sit super well with us, did it? So I apologize that these are coming out a little bit late, but I really do trust in the timing of these videos. I really do trust that I'm supposed to come in feeling more balanced, which I do now, but it was kind of a doozy. And this whole year has just been really challenging. I've been in my Saturn return, and it's been all of these lessons, and I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong, I've been very, very blessed this year as well, but I really appreciate those of you who have stuck with me throughout this journey and who are understanding of my lateness, of my tardiness. It's not been an easy year for anybody, especially for people who are doing this intuitive and sensitive work. We're really impacted a lot by what goes on in the collective, so it's really been a balancing act between self-care and also doing the work that needs to be done. So thank you all for all of your support. I really, really appreciate it. Also, happy birthday, by the way, for those of you who have a birthday coming up this month. I hope you have a great solar return. I hope your birthday is wonderful, even in this strange time. I hope you do something to celebrate it, even if it's just treating yourself to a little something special. So let's dive into the astrology here. And whenever we have a birthday, it's really important to keep that on our radar, because our solar return is like the time we take stock. We are leading into a new year. Quite literally for you, December, for you, Capricorn, you fall into the new year time. That is not surprising, because we were talking about before, Saturn is the god of time. It actually makes a lot of sense to me now that we start off the new year in your sign, even though astrologically speaking it would make sense for it to start in Aries. It's not like a far stretch. But with this energy, there's a lot of review, and I think especially just for the collective, there's so much review going into the new year, right? And so there are a lot of lessons that you might be wrapping up. They might be bubbling up out of nowhere, and that Gemini energy is not very pleasant for us earth signs. For you specifically, it's your 6th house, your house of routine, your house of health. You might be feeling a little bit run down, or maybe you're actually seeing the results of some regimens that you have been adopting, or you know, if you've been taking care of yourself, you'll probably see the benefits. You'll notice this month, and if you haven't, you'll also notice this month, because we had that eclipse on November 30th in Gemini. And Gemini is also a really interesting sign too, because it shows us our duality. It shows us our multifaceted nature. It's the twins. And a lot of people talk about Gemini as kind of this fun, bubbly sign. We kind of gloss over it. Some people kind of call it superficial. I don't think Gemini is superficial at all. It shows us the different aspects of ourselves. It shows us our multifaceted nature. So some people might interpret that as being two-faced, and maybe in lower manifestation it could manifest that way. But I actually think Gemini is the teacher of duality. And so there's a lot of duality that is coming up for us. And this year has been all about duality and this sense of division. And so it's interesting that we're kind of finishing up this year with this eclipse, and it's also conjunct with the lunar north node, which is talking a lot about our lessons, what we are striving towards. And for you, there really is this need to have routine and to have structure and to take care of yourself. So just saying that, Capricorn, that's really, really important. And this north node has been causing a lot of trouble. Really, a lot of the planets have just been stirring up quite an interesting year, haven't they? But I've heard it described with this north node in Gemini, it really has been like we've just been in a Mercury retrograde for the whole year, with everything being locked down, with all these restrictions that are placed on us, all these delays, all this uncertainty and miscommunication and misunderstanding and misinformation. Those are all very Gemini things to have happen to you, especially with a Mercury retrograde energy as well. And so we're really thinking a lot about that. I just think there's so much reflection that is happening towards the end of this year, especially as we are entering into kind of a new era. For those of you who haven't heard, we have the great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn, and that is occurring at 0 degrees in Aquarius. That is happening on the 21st of December. And that is going to be a really key date. Jupiter and Saturn both play a role as spiritual teachers or mentors, but the way that they function is very, very different. Jupiter is kind of the benevolent giver, the teacher, someone who's very accessible, who is very helpful. Saturn is kind of the tough love approach, to be totally honest with you. Saturn is kind of the stern father figure who's going to test you and make sure that you're ready. And with these energies working so closely together, Saturn being the sign of restriction and limitation, Jupiter being this planet of amplification. There has been a lot of restriction this year. And we've been experiencing this conjunction actually throughout this whole year. How it's a little bit different, though, on the 21st, is that there's the potential for it to shift. There could be a big lucky break for the collective or for you individually. And for you specifically, Capricorn, this could actually be affecting your finances, your sense of stability, or your material possessions. And it really depends on if you've been doing the work that you're supposed to be doing. And you're going to know what that means for you individually, okay? I can't tell you what that is for you in a personal reading. But it probably has to do with your values. And it probably has to do with creating abundance not only for yourself but other people. I would argue that too. And if you've been doing that work, you've been showing up, there could be a major reward. We do also have a new moon and an eclipse, again, on December 14th, and that's in the sign of Sagittarius. For you, Capricorn, that is actually your 12th house. And so there could be a lot of intuition, a lot of insight that is coming through for you, that's allowing you to create new beginnings and to set up new routines. Again, this thing with routine is coming up for you, so that's interesting. Because whenever you're talking about one sign, you're inevitably also touching on the opposite. Which is so interesting, because I was talking about this duality, this yin-yang sort of energy. That's big this month, I think. But with this new moon in Sagittarius, it's also a great time to really develop your intuition and really get in touch with your dreams, your subconscious, and kind of your dreams, in the sense of like your ideals or what you are striving towards that might not necessarily feel accessible to you, thinking about how you can make that more tangible. That's going to be a big theme for you this month. What else do we have? We do have a full moon right at the end of the month on December 31st in the sign of Cancer, which is your opposite sign. So again, very, very significant astrology for you this month, Capricorn. And that is going to be affecting your relationships. And maybe that's you looking at your relationship styles if you're single. Maybe this is developing or committing with somebody. It could also be potentially ending a relationship with somebody you have been with that has not been working. It really could go any number of ways, but whenever you think of a full moon, a key phrase that I like to work with is full circle. You could be seeing something come to fruition, or you could be seeing something come to an end. You're kind of coming back to where you started. Have you learned the lessons? That's another thing with this month. Have you learned the lessons? Are you going to get the reward, or do you have to try again? So that's really going to be affecting your relationships. And I'll kind of leave it to the cards how much that's really going to come into play. I just like to give you a lot of information to work with. I'm sorry, I know it's kind of info dumpy, but I think the astrology really does work very well with the tarot, and I think it's just really helpful in trying to understand the astrological climate, so to speak, of the month. It's almost like getting a weather forecast, and when we're kind of making our plans, it's nice to know if we should wear a coat, if it's going to be a rainy day, sort of thing, you know? I think astrology is really, really good for that. And also figuring out how to work best with the energy that is available to us. And there's a big shift that's happening. Before we go into the cards, with this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, this is really, really significant, and you've probably heard about this already. If you're watching this video, you probably follow astrology loosely enough to have heard about the Great Conjunction. What makes this so special is that we have been having these conjunctions in Earth signs for the past 200 years. And that kind of explains the Industrial Revolution, this focus on materialism, on status, on earthly things. The shift is now focusing into information, into ideas, into communication. So there's going to be a lot more sharing that is going on. And with this Aquarian energy specifically, it's very humanitarian focused. It's focused on the collective. I'm not saying that we're going to be jumping into a utopia in 2021. To be frank, I think it's going to be far, far from it. I think there's still going to be a lot of instability. There's still going to be some conflict. But the energy will be shifting. And even though we are experiencing energy that is very similar to what we were actually experiencing at the start of the year, even in March when things started locking down and things really changed for the world at large, we're coming back to it from a much higher perspective, and we don't have to be afraid of it. We're coming with a lot more of the energy being direct, where a lot of the energies were going retrograde towards that first part of the year. So I don't want people to freak out when they hear me talking about this. And it makes a lot of sense. We were in lockdowns then, we were in quarantines. A lot of the world is shutting down again. So it's kind of like a review, but we're coming from a different perspective with it this time. And we're looking forward to something different. And I think that's something that we can all kind of relate to in different ways, regardless of how you interpret that information for yourself. So it's actually pretty exciting, to be honest with you. I will just give you the warning, though. when we have Saturn going through the last degree, the 29th degree of Capricorn, that is when we can see a lot of things kind of come up, a lot of harsh lessons. And so we actually went into lockdown when it was in the 29th degree in March. Isn't that interesting? So there could be more restrictions, there could be one more hiccup before we kind of go into this new cycle. And again, you know, this is going to be taking place over 200 years. We're not looking at this all changing overnight, okay? But things will be shifting. And in a way, it's almost like we're really coming into the age of Aquarius. And that's not necessarily always going to look like a golden age. Aquarius energy can be quite cold, it can be quite distant. Even though it cares about the collective, it's very emotionally detached. And it's interesting that we're kind of coming into this in a year where we are social distancing. And we are feeling very disconnected from one another. And that's not to say that's how it's going to be, but it's something that we need to be aware of. And when we have these crazy technological advancements that we're going to be experiencing with all of this air energy, and this access to energy, this access to technology is going to explode, by the way. It's important that we don't lose ourselves to it, and that we use it from a positive space, from a connective heart space. And, you know, with all of this information that we're dumped with, it's actually quite impossible on social media right now to kind of filter through all of what we're bombarded with, and to not make snap decisions, not make snap judgments of people. We literally could not do that. And I think the best way to navigate that isn't to try and make that wrong, but just to own it and be aware of it. I actually have deactivated my personal Facebook. I'm just going to say, I think a lot of people have felt the need to do that, and I had mixed feelings about it. And I might reactivate it, but I think for now, it's helped me kind of collect myself. So maybe that's something you're feeling called to do too. Anyways, let's get into the tarot cards. Let's see what we have in store for you for the month of December. Let's get nitty-gritty here. What are the messages for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus? These are general messages, so they're not going to apply to all of you. So just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. If you'd like greater clarity on something, or this just didn't feel like it resonated for you specifically, you are more than welcome to look at the videos for your Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. If you don't know what those are, I do have a natal chart calculator in the description box down below that should help you figure all of that out, or give you a reminder if you've just forgotten. So what are the messages we have for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus? Okay. Page of Coins in reverse. This is kind of the energy I feel you are embodying this month, Capricorn. You're having a hard time getting something off the ground. Maybe this is something you've just been dealing with the whole year. I'm seeing this King of Wands energy. So this could be about a project you're working on, maybe a new career. But it feels like, again, you've been having a hard time getting something off the ground. This could be involving another person, especially a fire sign individual. So an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And you're kind of weighing out your options here with the Two of Pentacles. I really get the sense, Capricorn, that there's been this thing that you've been kind of contemplating this whole year. We're not just talking about December with this Two of Pentacles. I really get the sense that you've been kind of waffling back and forth a lot in 2020. And that could be about career, that could be about relationship, it could just be your life direction in general. And you might have embarked on a new venture. Especially in your day-to-day life. This could be you going to school, or you learning new skills. And it might feel like it's been harder. There's been more setbacks. It's been a lot of burnout very early on because of all of these delays. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're trying to figure out, is X really worth my time? Or is blank really worth my time? Whatever that is for you, whatever this thing is that you really tried to make happen. I do feel like, however, with the Six of Coins, we were talking about this karmic payoff, this reward for all your hard work. I would not be surprised if the universe does come in and support you. That could be monetarily, that could be just through a supportive person or a supportive friend. Some of you are actually trying to figure out quite literally what to invest into, or if you should loan money to somebody. If this is a loaning situation, I do want to tell you, don't give more than you could give away if you're expecting some sort of money coming back. If you really feel like you need to help this person, because to be honest with you, if this is energy that's external to you, someone's asking for money, I really do feel like this person might not be the wisest financially. They kind of have gotten themselves into trouble, and that might be why they're asking you for money, that they've come up with this new scheme and they're asking for help, or that there's just some situation that they've gotten in and they need some help. I'm not saying don't help them, but just be realistic with them paying you back, because it might take some time, if it ever happens at all, to be real. General reading though, so that's not going to apply to all of you, so just take that if it resonates. The real focus I'm seeing here again is just this focus on, or this emphasis on, what is worth my time, what is worth my investment energetically, monetarily, and there might be some sort of support that is coming in. So that's really interesting. Let's pull some animal wisdom. Let's kind of get a sense of direction here. The animals are really good at telling us what we should be doing. Ooh, firefly. Yeah, I really do feel like there is this sudden spark for you. And it's really important to follow the flow of your inspiration. If something truly just does not inspire you anymore, it might be time to let that go and to re-strategize or look at a different path. But again, with this Firefly card, I really do feel like there's this moment of illumination. And there's the support. It's like the universe is almost handing you an Ace of Pentacles that's not on the table. And it's almost testing your faith a little bit. Is this what you really want? Are you going to actually pursue this path? Are you actually going to pursue this relationship and hold out? Or are you going to give up? And it's a general reading, so really take that as it applies. What's interesting is that this Ace of Wands is actually at the bottom of the deck. This just popped out to me. I just noticed it. It's reminding me a lot of this firefly energy, because it's a spark. There is this spark, and something could just suddenly catch flame, suddenly could just, start for you out of nowhere. And you've really been like striking the match a few times, really trying to get something going. And at this point you're just like, oh my god, this is never gonna happen. I don't know what to do. If you keep working towards this, Capricorn, if you give this one last shot, I'd be really, really curious to hear where this leads you. Let me know in the comments down below, because it feels like you're almost being tested with the Saturn energy kind of finishing up its work with you in your sign right before it goes into Aquarius. Are you going to take this seriously? Are you going to be disciplined? Are you going to be focused? And there really could be a big reward. I'm just saying, okay? Don't want anyone to miss out on this. Let's look at the second half of the month now. Ooh. Let's look at the second half of the month. The High Priestess comes out first. Again, this message, really pay attention to your dreams and really pay attention to your intuition. This firefly can kind of come in like this eureka moment, this this divine inspiration or spark. There could be this new idea that comes for some of you, or just this flicker of hope. Listen to your intuition, even if it doesn't make sense to you, even if you feel tired or worn out, or not sure. I'm thinking of that quote, "The urge to give up is strongest just in the moment before you succeed." That's really what I'm getting a strong feeling of. And you'll kind of know what that looks like for you, Capricorn. You really do need to trust your intuition here. I also want to tell some of you to pay attention to your dreams. Maybe keep a dream journal. Because when I think of firefly energy, it's like that illumination that's very bright, but also temporary, and it's so easy to forget our dreams. Write down your dreams as soon as you wake up. Because there could be messages in your dreams, there could be patterns or things to interpret in your dreams that are really helpful for you. There's a lot of great resources online. You can kind of look at dream meanings if that is something you're interested in. But I want to tell this group of people to really pay attention to your dreams this month, especially towards the middle of the month. Especially with this new moon in Sagittarius on the 14th. That's going to be in your 12th house, your house of dreams, your subconscious. There's definitely some illumination that could be shining some very revealing light for you. Interesting. We do have the 3 of Cups and the 5 of Wands. And it feels like... It's interesting. I was talking about this in the astrology earlier. It feels like there's almost this putting differences aside with people you might have had conflict with, and this coming back together with the 3 of Cups. There's a lot of harmony, actually. And maybe this is kind of connected to the Cancer full moon right at the end of the year. This could be talking about a romantic relationship, but to be honest with you, it's actually feeling more just like friendships or family members. You're just putting differences aside, whatever this conflict was. And that's interesting. If this is a relationship, if this is talking about another energy, and you are kind of like, oh my god, I don't know if I can take any more of this person, I don't know if I can keep doing this, I really feel like there's just this intuitive push for you to go a little further. And I'm not trying to encourage anyone to stay in like a really toxic relationship. If it's abusive, get out of there. This isn't for you, okay? But if it just feels like it's been really hard, and you're both really tired, and you know it's just been a really tumultuous year for both of you, and you know there's something deeper between the two of you, I feel like you're putting these disagreements or conflicts aside, you're coming together, and it feels really beautiful. And again, this Ace of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. There really is a new beginning that's going to be happening for you very shortly. A lot of passion, could be some creativity. Maybe you're working on a creative project with somebody in your life. That could be that fire sign. Let's clarify this just a little more. Yeah, the Hierophant. People coming together, like-minded people. I feel like this is you connecting with the community. That's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. And maybe you don't agree with everything that this group of people believes, or maybe there's some differences in beliefs, but they're actually pretty minor, because I think you're still supposed to be working together or connecting. This could be talking about family as well. But I feel like there's this kindred thing with you and these other people that you're connecting with. That there was some sort of conflict, and you're looking past that. And I actually feel like there's apologies that might be taking place as well. This could be really specific, but for some of you, this is actually a spiritual community or a spiritual circle, or kind of like a soul family sort of situation, people you feel like you've shared past lives with or something like that. Sorry, the recording cut out there. I went over time. I just want to pull one more card. Again, I've told you, these readings have been really, really long. Temperance in reverse, with the Five of Wands in reverse. That's interesting. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius. Again, that fire energy was pretty strong before. You could be dealing with Sagittarian energy. This is really weird because it feels like while you are being encouraged to settle these differences and put them aside for now, I gotta be honest, I feel like there is going to be tension or conflict that bubbles up again, and maybe you know that, and maybe that's why you feel hesitant to continue on in this situation, or with these people, or connecting with these people. I gotta be honest though, Capricorn, I feel like you're supposed to just persevere and keep going. That's interesting. Again, general reading, not going to apply to all of you. Use your own intuition and discernment. If this is truly a toxic situation, don't stay. Don't justify someone's abusive behavior just because you're watching a tarot reading on YouTube. But I just want you to reconnect with these people, knowing that there may be issues that happen in the future, and that's actually okay. I don't want you to reconnect and apologize with someone or with this group of people and kind of set up this false expectation like we can never argue about this again. We are just putting this behind us and it's never going to come up again. And if that happens, if someone gets upset about this again, then that person is a bad person, or they're not doing the work, or they're unevolved, or something like that. No, I think that's really gaslighting, to be honest with you. It's totally fine if this conflict keeps coming up. I think it's just about navigating these differences. That's really interesting. That's not a traditional interpretation of this card, but just kind of riffing off the energy we've been playing with, that feels correct. I'd be really curious to hear in the comments down below, what is the situation? Who are these groups of people? What is going on here? And for you, it's kind of about, there might just be a thing with timing. Maybe this doesn't happen in December, okay? Really trust your intuition with the High Priestess, and trust you will know when to have a conversation with someone and when you kind of just need to let bygones be bygones, or have water under the bridge sort of thing. Leave water under the bridge. Let's pull one more animal card. Frog. Yeah, there is this healing and this transformation that's going on. And Frog is such an interesting energy because I feel like you're not supposed to walk away from these people, so to speak, or the situation. But you're not necessarily supposed to be super attached to it either. Because Frog starts off as a tadpole in the pond, right? And it grows these legs, it grows its limbs, and it's able to leave the pond. It does return from time to time, it does need to go back to the pond it came from, it does need to rehydrate itself. But you don't have to stay there all the time. And I think that's what this balance is, what that rhythm is. Like, it doesn't have to be black or white. And I do feel like there is this thing with healing that's going on, and it's going to take some time with the Temperance card in the reverse. I really, really want you to just consider, okay, the ways that you might be holding back your healing or growth. Especially when it comes to the ways that you might disagree with the people around you. And when I think of frog, I do think of family, actually, as well. Kind of that pond, where you come from. That is very Cancerian energy too. Interesting. I want to pull one more animal card. Why not? We've already gone over. Elephant. Yeah, have faith. Trust. Trust this inner fire. Trust this inspiration. Elephant is actually a great card because it's usually an indication that blessings are going to be coming into your life. Obstacles are going to be cleared because the elephant is the destroyer of obstacles. It's Ganesh, the Hindu god. And there's just a lot of, there really is a lot of good energy, and it might not even be something that you experience in the month of December, to be totally honest with you, but you feel that it's coming. There's this shift that's coming. Whatever it was that was burning you out, there's a shift that's happening, and something is opening up. There's a path that's being cleared for you. So even if you feel like you should turn around and give up, I would honestly just stay open. If your intuition is telling you to stick around with something and you don't know why, there is something that is going to be opening up for you. Or there is still a lesson that you're supposed to learn. Maybe that's what it is. It could be the lesson, but I feel like it's a reward. I don't want you to like freak out about that. I feel like there's a major reward if you stick to this. So that's all I have for you, Capricorn. Happy birthday again. Happy solar return. I am wishing you a happy rest of your year. I may be doing another year ahead spread with my friend Ellie, so if you're not subscribed, be sure to do that. I have all of my social media links down below as well. I post on all of my platforms whenever I do something special or whenever I have an update or announcement or a giveaway or something like that. We are getting really, really close to that 50,000 mark, so keep your eyes peeled for some giveaways or some sales. That'd be really nice to kind of align with the new year. I think that's a great time to get tarot readings as well. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Capricorn.